Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and very good evening. Today I would like to present with you a topic about Mudarabah contract. Mudarabah contract, before I start my topic, first I would like to introduce myself. My name is Hamza Mahmoud Ahmed. My meeting number is 251976. Mudarabah contract. Mudarabah contract is a form of Islamic equity based on partnership contract, commonly known as profit sharing contract. It's a partnership contract where the capital provider contributes the capital and the manager provides the managerial skills and manage Mudarabah contract. Mudarabah contract could be categorized into two parties, which is restricted and unrestricted. However, the agreement between two parts is profit sharing and also loss sharing. Secondly, roles of Mudarabah. Roles of Mudarrib has many different functions. The first one is to look after the investment responsibility except in case of natural climates. The second function or role is to purchase from the fund provided by Rabbul Mal, and he is also have the responsibility of sharing in profit. Next one is to provide for loss suffered by Mudarabah due to any act of his part. When the Mudarabah gets facet or due to any reason, Mudarrib is entitled only the salary. It means he did not take ujra means. In case if there is a loss, the Mudarrib will not even get ujra. The second thing that I would like to explain to you is types of Mudarabah. Mudarabah can be classified two parts, which means the first one is Mudarabah al-Muqayyada and Mudarabah al-Mustaqalla, which means in English restricted and unrestricted Mudarabah. The first one is Mudarabah al-Muqayyada, which means Rabbul Mal may specify the particular business or a particular place for the Mudarrib, in which case he shall invest money in that particular business or place. This is called Mudarabah al-Muqayyada or restricted Mudarabah. So he cannot make any decision or something else without the permission of the capital provider. The second one is Mudarabah al-Mutaqalla. However, this one is the Rabbul Mal gives full freedom to Mudarrib to undertake whatever the business he dreams fit. This is called Mudarabah al-Mustaqalla, or it can be called in English unrestricted Mudarabah. This one, the manager or the manager can do something without the permission of capital provider, because already the capital provider gives the permission to make some decision or to make investment, something like that. And the second part is about the distribution of profit and loss. It means the way they can share the profit and loss by the Mudarrib and the capital provider, or the capital contributor. It is necessary for the validity of Mudarabah that can parts agree. The right at the beginning on the defined proportion, the actual profit is which one of them is entitled. In Sharia has prescribed already don't tell us no parts of proportion, rather than it has been left for mutual consent, which means what they already make their agreement. It depends on their agreement. So they can share the profit in equal proportion, or they can allocate in different proportion by Rabbul Mal and the Mudarrib. However, the Mudarrib and Rabbul Mal cannot allocate a lump of some amount of the profit of any part, or they can determine to share the part on a specific rate tied up on a capital. For example, if if the capital provider say you will, the Mudarrib will take 1,000 out of 100 and they will share. Maybe the profit is 100,000. Then the capital provider say we will share only 10,000. That's not allowed also. However, they can agree when they get the profit, they can agree that 40% of actual profit shall go to the Mudarrib and 60% of the profit shall go to the Rabbul Mal and vice versa. The professional profit in it by the Mudarrib and the Rabbul Mal will also be taken into account when the total capital is drawn. The principal amount of invested by the Rabbul Mal will be given to him in order to balance, will be called the profit, which will be distributed between Mudarrib and Rabbul Mal at agreed ratio. If no balance is left, Mudarrib will not get anything. Also, if the principal amount is not recovered fully, then the profit shared by the Mudarrib and the Rabbul Mal during the term of Mudarrib will be withdrawn to pay the principal amount of Rabbul Mal. The balance will be the profit which is distributed between Mudarrib and Rabbul Mal. In case two, if balance is left, Mudarrib will not get anything. Now we will focus on Sharia basis on Mudarabah. As we know, Sharia is based or Mudarabah is based on Sharia Islamia. So there is many things that's prohibited, like interest, like qarar, like many things that is different from Prophet share. So hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam reported by the Saleh bin Suhaib from his father. He said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are three blessed things: different sale, Mudarabah, and mixing pearl and wheat. This above hadith states that three things are deemed as blessed. One of them is Mudarabah. The second thing is termination of Mudarabah or revocation of Mudarabah. The Mudarabah will stand terminated when the period of specified in the contract expires. It can also be terminated anytime by either of two parties giving notice. In case Rabbul Mal has terminated surface or Mudarrib, he will continue to act as Mudarrib until he is informed of same, and all this act will form part of Mudarabah. If all assets of Mudarabah are in cash at form of time of termination, and sum of profit has been in it on principal amount, it shall be distributed between the parts according to the ratio they already agreed. And now I will continue the application of Mudarabah. As we know, Mudarabah has many different applications. There's no interest, there's profit and loss sharing. So I will tell you some of the applications of Mudarabah, so I cannot cover all the applications of Mudarabah. So for example, I will project financing, small and medium enterprise, importance of financing, importance of bills around under important letters of credit, like liability side financing, interbank lending, borrowing, financing, certificates and certificate investment, something like that. Oh, that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So let us discuss about the contracting parties. So the two main important contracting parties in a Mudarabah are the investor and the manager. The investor is called as a Rabbul Mal, and the manager is called as Mudarib. The other important principle in a Mudarabah is in relation to the conclusion of the contract. It is important to note that because it is important that in a Mudarabah contract, when it is entered into between two parties, there are certain elements which needs to be very clearly mentioned in the Mudarabah agreement. One is with reference to the amount of money, the other is with reference to the duration, and the third is with reference to, if at all it is a restricted Mudarabah, in terms of where the investment needs to be done. The third important principle in a Mudarabah contract is with reference to Mudarabah capital. Okay, the capital in a Mudarabah can be cash, it can be tangible assets. What is important is that at the time of the conclusion of the contract, the cash or the tangible asset needs to exist. You cannot put a debt, okay, to be realized in the Mudarabah as capital. So this is an important point which one has to keep in mind. In terms of the profit distribution, again, this is important that the profit sharing ratio is clearly mentioned in the Mudarabah arrangement between both the parties. What would be the ratio in which the profit would be divided between the investor and the manager, that is between the Rabbul Mal and the Mudarib. And another important principle in a Mudarabah is with reference to loss. It needs to be made very clear in the Mudarabah agreement that the loss in the business should always be borne by the investor, that is the Rabbul Mal. The loss should not be borne by the manager unless and until there has been negligence, misconduct or breach of trust proven against the Mudarib. Otherwise, if the Mudarib has done its duty, if the Mudarib is efficient enough, if the Mudarib has invested the money with caution, and even then there was a loss, then all that loss needs to be borne by the investor. So this is another important point which needs to be kept in mind. Let us discuss about another principle which is in relation to guarantee. This needs to be made very clear that the Mudarib will not be allowed to provide a guarantee either in relation to the capital or the profit. So there should not be any kind of a guarantee in a Mudarabah arrangement given by the Mudarib, that is the manager, mentioning that I will anyhow bring a profit of this percentage, or the capital in the Mudarabah will never be at a loss. So that kind of guarantee should not be given by the manager of the Mudarabah venture. Of course, a guarantee could be given against the misconduct, the breach of contract or negligence in relation to the manager. So the Mudarib can say that if I do not follow the contract or if I am negligent, then I will compensate the loss. But if the Mudarib has done its duty, then the Mudarib should not be held liable for the loss. Now let us look at the Mudarabah structure. So in this Mudarabah structure, we have discussed that the financial institution or the institution which invests is called as Rabbul Mal. It is investor. In this case, what happens is that the Mudarib does not invest its own capital, but the capital which it has received from the Rabbul Mal. So this is the Mudarabah capital. This Mudarabah capital is being invested in the project by the Mudarib. So the Mudarib, it's using its skill, its knowledge, its experience, its expertise in the venture, and the profit generated from this venture is shared between the investor and the manager, or the Mudarib and the Rabbul Mal, according to the profit sharing ratio which has been agreed upon in the Mudarabah contract. But one important point is that in case of loss, all the loss needs to be borne by the investor. No loss has to be taken by the Mudarib or the manager. But another important point is that the Mudarib should not be paid any salary if the project has incurred a loss. Meaning to say, any income which is given to the Mudarib should only be from the profit which has been generated, because the Mudarib is just investing its expertise and the Mudarib is not sharing in the loss. So the Mudarib will only be given money when there is profit in the venture. If there is a loss in the venture, the Mudarib should not be given a salary. So this is basically how a Mudarabah structure works.